guys, I'm CJ, sponsored skateboarder from the Detroit metro area, and today we're in Osaka, Japan. I am demonstrating and describing my stream setup for IRL outdoor streaming. First, we're gonna write some diagrams and show you exactly how it works. So, most people have heard about the Gun Run backpack and Live View. That's one option, one type of hardware encoder you can use. I have one, but I don't always use it. In fact, I don't really use it anymore. Some encoders have advantages and disadvantages, but the one I use is the Teradek. It kind of looks like this. That's my Teradek. Specifically, I use the Bond 2. They're already on the Bond 3, but it costs a lot of money. They don't offer the Bond 2 on their website, but if you call them, ring, 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 they said they have some in a warehouse just sitting there. This particular encoder has 6 USB ports, which is nice because that gives me the ability in Japan to use 3 SIM cards for each of their networks. And they have 2 main networks here. So we got NTT Docomo, and the other one is SoftBank. So I like using this Teradek encoder because it's really small, probably about fits in my fist like this, and then everything just connects with USBs really easy. I don't need anything else. I don't need to power these any other way, anything special. Just one battery, and it's a universal port. They call it D-tap, P-tap, but you can find these batteries in all different kinds of capacities, sizes, and dimensions. So you really just pick one that you want. They're very, very universal for cameras in general. Although this isn't powering the camera, it's only powering the Teradek video encoder, which is connected to my 6 modems. Tell them about the fanny pack. Yes, we'll show the fanny pack after we draw some diagrams. Why 6 modems? Because we can. If we were just streaming with one, we might encounter issues, and we definitely encounter issues in Japan because let's say you go into a building or underground, there's a lot of interference or cement walls, objects are blocking signal. In a place where you might get fast speed, it diminishes a lot when you go into these buildings. So you need more internet connections to make up for that loss of speed. So by having 6, it increases our chance of still getting a stable video and audio signal through whatever environment that we stream in. The Live View is different. It can support up to 4 connections, but they're not all USB. In fact, one is an Ethernet cable, RJ45, and one is a Wi-Fi hotspot. Only 2 are USB. So it's more complicated if you want to use all 4 connections, and it's bigger. It takes up a lot more space with additional routers and additional batteries. So for that reason, I don't use it unless I have a real need for it. How many batteries do you need to keep that powered? 1, just 1 so far. But we'll draw our stick next. Here's our selfie stick. All right, we got our Sony Action Cam up top. You can use a GoPro if you want, but not all versions of GoPros have image stabilization, so most of us use the Sony Action Cams. They also cost less. And then I just have a cell phone for reading chat and playing my alerts with Stream Elements. So you do need a second battery to power the phone and the camera. Both are USB, and I use like a 10,000 mAh battery for, I don't know, like 9 hours of streaming. You could use bigger, but I don't need it usually. But I could fit a bigger one should I need it into my small fanny pack. So altogether, we have 2 batteries. One relatively small T-tap, and then a USB power bank with only 2 USB ports needed. How come you don't mount the camera on your shoulder like everyone else? I do sometimes. Usually for privacy reasons, I feel awkward, so I don't use it unless I have a specific need for it. I generally don't like putting the camera on people's faces before they know what I'm doing, because I started streaming right when IRL streaming was first coming out on Twitch, and it was a big deal, like with people getting in trouble doing that, and I've gotten in trouble doing that. I feel like they've been a lot lax lately. Probably they don't care unless people complain. Yeah, that's something to consider when streaming. Where does the stream to Twitch part come into play? Alright, we can get to that. Let me draw a Linux server. So, we need special software to combine our video signal. Now we don't have to use all 6 ports on the Teradek. We could only use 1 if we wanted, or just 2 or 3. We're using 6 at the moment. How this works is it sends the video signal to a server, and it needs software running on Linux, and it combines the signal from all those SIMs into one. It has to like rebuild it. So the video is being evenly distributed, hopefully, across all of those so that they're sharing the load, and then it's getting rebuilt on the Linux server. Teradek does offer a cloud solution, but it's pretty expensive now. A couple hundred a month for me if I was going to use that. So don't want to do that if I can avoid that, so I run my own. Currently at my Airbnb, we are running a Linux server just for this. I have no extra costs doing that. I host it myself. I'm not even paying anything for the internet at the Airbnb. But that's a problem for me at nighttime because my internet at the Airbnb is shared with everyone else in the apartment. So when we are doing night streams or any kind of stream on the weekend, I need to run this Linux server in the cloud. So I use Amazon AWS. And I spend a lot of time figuring out the price to power ratio. This runs me, if I'm using it full time for every single stream in 1 month, around $50, including bandwidth costs. Also depends on what bitrate you're using, because that'll affect your bandwidth cost as well. It's not free bandwidth with AWS. This is a morning stream on a Tuesday, so my internet at home on my Airbnb is fast enough, which means I'm self-hosting, so no additional cost. Tomorrow night, Wednesday night, we will be doing a drinking stream in Umeda, so I will turn on AWS instead of using self-hosted and then repoint my Teradek to the cloud there. Have I looked into permanent accommodations? Visitor visa holders cannot rent apartments here, and not by law, but because landlords don't want to. It is impossible. What size EC2? Good question. I will have to check my phone. I forget. It might be a T3A small or something. I want to mention one advantage to using the Bond 2 Teradek instead of the newer one is that you can self-host it. I think with the newer one, you can't. Or they don't offer it for free. So it's really nice, and I got really lucky to buy in during the time that this software was free. I can't get updates or anything, but I got it to a point where it's workable for most situations. Any issues with really hot or cold days with the equipment? Nope, no issues. No issues except with your cell phone. If your cell phone is in direct heat or too cold, it won't charge. So there have been situations where I'm just walking down the street in Korea and it is too cold outside and my cell phone will not charge. Same thing with leaving it in the sun. Everything else, never had a problem. As long as you don't leave it in a trapped bag. I have used a Nike backpack with vents on the outer pouch side of it, and I would throw that in the back. But now I have a perforated fanny pack, which I'll show you after this, and I've never had an issue with heat. Next, Windows. We all use Windows for running OBS. It just works better. So, again, right now, I'm self-hosting my Windows OBS at my Airbnb during the daytime. Nighttime weekends, I don't have the bandwidth at this apartment building. I'm running it through the AWS. So I basically have exact copies locally here at my apartment and in the cloud. And let's say I want to go stream in San Diego at TwitchCon. Because these are on the Amazon AWS EC2, I can just copy them and spool them up in any country that I want. So that is something I didn't have before because I never in the past needed to use a cloud solution. This is the first time that I've lived in a country where I've not been able to self-host. Unless if you have your own like work visa or work permit here where you can register for that kind of stuff on your own. No laser pointer. I don't have one. Is there a more simpler solution? Yeah. Just stream with your phone straight to Twitch. You can skip all this and do a one SIM card stream with your phone using the Streamlabs app straight to Twitch, but it only works if you have a good internet connection. Tier 1 sub.
Do.
Okay guys, so this is what I call the tactical fanny. It is a military style, military grade fanny pack. These are called Molly bags. It just means that these are modular and they can fit through these straps and you can add on different kinds. So I'll show you what I'm using here in Japan, and this has been slightly different depending on which country I'm in, but this is pretty standard now. So this is my main power source for the Teradek. Remember, this is a P-tap or D-tap connector, so they're universal. This is a universal battery, so it powers the Teradek and the 6 USB modems that are currently plugged into it. So on the outside here, just conveniently, I was able to fit 5 USB Huawei modems into the outer side of this pouch. I've been using different amounts, and I only today, this morning, just added a 6th one. So I had to fit it inside because I didn't have an extra little ring to slide it through. But I just thought that was a convenient place to stick them, and they stay cool. I have not had any issues with like them getting wet or anything. I've just gotten lucky. Probably see the Teradek right here. It takes up about half the bag. In fact, it's about the same size of this battery. That's the Teradek Bond 2. So it's really, really small, and probably about the third the size of the Live View. And then I have my 10,000 mAh battery. This red one I got plugged into the Sony action camera, and then one to keep my phone charged. So that's all I need for a normal stream. I actually added an additional bag over here just for now because I need a hotspot, and my 2 phones are using the internet from this. I don't have SIM cards in them. So this is something I bought with Japan Wi-Fi Buddy. They average between $100 and $140 a month. Depends. It is not unlimited, even though it's advertised as unlimited. And actually, because of coronavirus, the provider has lowered the amount of data they allow per month, and I'm now limited to 100. If you're just streaming by cell phone all the time, you're gonna run out of data. That 100 is not gonna be enough. Because I'm sharing the load across 6 different SIMs, I'm not reaching 100 on any single one of these. And actually, 3 of these are limited to 100, while the other 3 have no monthly limit, but have a 3.5 gig limit per day, which is a whole nother problem because we use SIM cards from JapanRailPass.com, and they sell NTT Docomo cards, which they also advertise as unlimited. But then in the fine print, it says they're limited to 5 gigs per day. But after testing them, we noticed we were getting our internet cut off after 3.5 gigs per day. So everything they're advertising is actually incorrect. So I have to make sure and do calculations that our bit rate stays low enough to fit within the amount of hours we stream per day and not go over that 3.5 gigs for any particular SIM card. So for the past couple months, I've been streaming at really low bit rate. In fact, probably the lowest I've ever streamed at in any country, around like 2,500 for the stream. We just found some new SIM cards through a company called iVideo. They have an office here in Osaka. The only limit that they said they have is that 100 gigs a month, so there might not be a daily one, or it might be higher than the other ones, hopefully. That's what I'm hoping. So we have spreadsheets just for these internet providers and different kinds of SIM cards here in Japan that we've tested over the months because it's been a real fight and a real problem, which we have not encountered in any other country because this is the only place where these things are regulated so hard. And we've gotten emails from the internet providers saying that they can't handle the amount of usage that people have been needing during this time of coronavirus, so they've been throttling people earlier and giving people less data, etc., etc. And yeah, it's kind of like backwards, you know. If more people are working from home, you'd think they would allow you more, but their infrastructure here in Japan apparently can't support it. Woo! And that's it for the tactical fanny. I don't need a backpack, particularly for night streams. Kind of nice because I can wear good clothes and suit or whatever and not need to wear a backpack over it. Alright, hopefully this presentation made more sense than the last 3 or 4 times I tried giving it. It's getting better each time, and also it's changing each time because I'm using slightly different things and I'm in slightly different places of the world. In any account, I hope this helps you with your setups and your streaming, and good luck. And cut!
Bonus content. Q&A.
Do you guys have any other questions or questions about other services or setups? I can answer anything about any of them. How will IRL streaming change with the introduction of 5G? Well, we might not need any of this. How Chubby and I were the first ones to ever do a real-life test at the same location where I had 4 sims set up. It might have been with my live view, and she was using her cell phone only on 5G. It was crowded, it was Ultra Music Festival Korea, and her connection and stream held up way better with higher quality than my stream did with 4 to 6 SIM cards. Theoretically, 5G has better human body penetration, or there just weren't many people on it yet. It's kind of hard to know for sure. She did not need a multi-sim setup for streaming in a crowded music festival. That would be a big game changer, wouldn't it? How do you change scenes? I have self-coded couple programs that run on the Linux server. I got some Python running, Node.js running. Like my Python code is doing bitrate detection, so bitrate gets too low to transmit the video signal, switches to the be right back scene on OBS. It sends a signal to that machine to switch scenes, and then my Node.js and a bot will watch for chat commands and do whatever I programmed it to do. So that's all self-coded and stuff that I've enhanced over the past year. What does the autofix command do? I don't have an autofix command. If Synapse is using one, it's probably similar to what I have. Because there's this issue when streaming with any kind of hardware encoder that if the bitrate gets too low to transmit properly, if it's going too slow and gets too low, the video and audio will get desynced. So to prevent that, we have the auto switching to the be right back scene. It stops the video player, switches to another scene, and then restarts it once it knows it can handle it again. At least my fix command tells the bonding software to restart and resync. It's possible the Synapse server does some kind of similar trick. It's kind of like a last resort. Something catastrophic has happened where the video is messed up, so it's just a reset. And I think that's why some other people have failed with using Teradeks, is because they would have that desync transmission issue with no way of handling it or fixing it, especially automatically. So that's something I made. Where are you? 7-Eleven. Still recording.
A question for the ladies in the audience. Boxers or briefs?
Okay, software time. How do you get your speaker to not turn off? That was one question I saw. With Bluetooth speakers, some of them have like auto standby or auto turn off to save battery if there's no sound coming through them. So I use a custom soundboard app. I think that's even what it's called. And then I have a file with white noise. Basically nothing's playing and it's on a loop. So basically it's always sending a signal to my speaker without actually playing anything. And then it never turns off. That's just the trick for my speaker. I don't necessarily have the best one. Some turn off, some don't automatically. I'm using Stream Elements. A lot of people use Streamlabs, but I'm using Stream Elements. And they have this background mode, allow companion to run in the background now. So I don't actually have this open at all in the foreground while I'm streaming. I'm using this because I can read chat more easily. So once this app is running, you need to use your Windows server and click play on the media share page so that media share will play when someone sends a donation. It's kind of a bad design with the way Stream Elements has done it, because you have to have a physical web page open to handle playing the media. This is only with Stream Elements. Streamlabs does not work that way. If you are using the Streamlabs app, it will handle everything on the phone itself and you won't need to run it somewhere else. I like to use Dank Chat for reading chat because it's easier and it supports BTTV, Franker Faces. Also, when we were doing a collab stream over the weekend, I can quickly swap between different chat rooms on Twitch so I can monitor like everything going on. They have dark mode. I'm just using light mode because it's really bright outside and I can't see when it's sunny and the phone's in dark mode. So yeah, those are the 3 apps I use. I don't use anything else anymore. This has evolved over the years and I used to use different techniques for sending audio from the server to my phone. There's an app called Soundwire that'll transmit everything your server hears to your phone. I don't really need to do that anymore, but maybe you want to use that. The app is called Soundwire. Could you sell your tips and programs to other streamers? Someone's already doing that. Synapse and Unlimited IRL, they are doing that and pay for their consulting fee. I will match their rate. But no, I've never really helped anyone with this because most people probably don't use Teradek. The only difference with a live view is you're sending it to a server in the cloud. You have to use a live view server, but they're pretty cheap at only $45 a month and you don't have to pay for bandwidth. So you can hit, 1080 or higher, 60 FPS or higher, but you have to pay more. I priced it out to, if you want 60 FPS at 1080 and you're streaming full-time IRL, like 45 hours a week, you're looking at around $250 a month just for the servers and cloud. So that's kind of a lot. My preference is to step it down a little bit, maybe save $100. I missed it. What's DTAP? It's the port connection on the wire that connects to the battery. LiveViews offer a similar cable. It's a universal connector that can connect to all different sorts of batteries. With the unlimited Synapse solutions, how much control do you retain? They give you TeamViewer access to remote into the Windows server, not the Linux side. So you have control over your Windows OBS program and anything else running on that Windows. Base offerings though, you're on some kind of shared solution. So I've run into some issues where if there's too many people using it or using the network, the stream didn't work. And that happened a couple times while I was traveling here in Japan. You can pay them more for a dedicated solution as well. Or you can set it up yourself, like I did. Japan internet is bad? Yeah, it's the worst I've experienced in the 7 to 9 countries I've visited or lived in the past year. Well, I thought Japan was at the top for stable internet. No, it's not. What Linux distro? I generally use Debian because it's faster and more lightweight, less bloated than others. I'm trying to think. You know what? My self-hosted one might even be running Ubuntu, I think, for some reason. But I know the one I set up more recently on AWS is using Debian. You know what? There might be a more important need for using Debian or Ubuntu, any fork from Debian, because the software installer for the Teradek bonding is a Debian package. So I don't know what Gentoo is built off of, but you gotta make sure it can run Debian packages.
Alright guys, that concluded the demonstration and Q&A that occurred during the live stream. But if you have any more questions about my setup or about other people's setup, you can ask on my Discord, discord.gg/cjayride. That's where you can find me and other people in my community. We're always answering tech questions. So good luck with your future live streams, and I'll see you on Twitch.